correctly. Going to stop by the Zelnaga Watchtower, something you should always be doing when you're scouting here. He's going to run into the base, see a pretty standard build out of Drafter with the 12 barracks and now going 15 orbital, and I believe that was a 13 refinery. Very, very standard build being mirrored by both of them, both choosing to get a Marine here. And looks like the only advantage thus far in this game is that Select has scouted Drafter. Drafter scouted the two wrong positions, so now he knows Select is at the top left. But there's not a lot to see. He's going to get in there, see a barracks, see two refineries, and fairly standard here.
Yeah, I mean, literally there is like zero intel to be gotten at that point. Just the one Marine out. And I guess we're going to see the deviation coming up right here, as we do have 2 gas down for our Terran Select, and we only have 1 gas down over here for Drafter. We do have we have a factory going up over on Drafter's side, and we got a tech lab going up. So it's remained to be seen here. I guess we could get still plenty of options out of both of these builds.
Right, I think as we've got the Ghost Academy actually down here in the dust of or the smoke of Select. Ghost Academy going up very quickly. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with this. Tech Lab now on. He's getting a Ghost out. Is Cloak started? No, Cloak has not started. So just a really, really quick Ghost here. He may be using this to do some sort of snipe and try to get up there and break the few Marines. Or let's see what he tries to transition now with 150 gas. Is he going to get Cloak? No, and no factory yet. So I'm really interested to see what he... 2 ghosts, actually. I have not seen this in a TVT. So Select really leading the way here with a bit of a strange build. First ghost out, second one on the way. And when that second one comes out, things are really going to get strange.
I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen here. I'm with you, Chill. I'm not quite sure what the intention is here right now. Now, over on the other side, on Drafter's side, he's basically gone 1-1-1 over to the starport. And so right. I would say that Select is kind of at risk of getting found out here pretty quickly if he indeed puts some units out here that's going to go over. But what is he going to do with these guys?
Oh, my Drafter is struggling here to get his building switched out. Now landing on the Tech Lab, getting a Raven out. So good thing Select did not go Cloak, as that would completely negate that. He's got his 2 ghosts just standing on the cliff here. Oh, I don't know. That SCV got taken out by the Ghost. I don't know if he's going to be able to take a look at that SCV and realize what happened. Now getting a second command center. So it looks like these might be some sort of defensive ghosts. And the only time I've seen this build was actually Ariador using it against Louder. And Louder just went Banshees and just crushed Drone. So I haven't really seen it used too effectively. Looks like there's just 3 ghosts. Still no research at the Ghost Academy.
Yeah.
Command Center coming up and 2 more barracks. Now switching over to Marauder. So it could be just a defensive play. I'd like to see this build more to kind of get a sense of how it plays out.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to sort of see an attack or something to the effect if it is indeed a defensive build. Now, the first thing coming out of the starport is actually a Raven. So had those ghosts gotten cloaked, that would have likely become pretty ineffective at that point. But I just feel like Select is kind of behind here on Army. And although there's no indication that Drafter's getting ready to push out, he is dropped his command center there. And the other one is nearly complete as it goes to orbital command and then will fly over and drop. But seems like there is a window right here for Drafter if he would maybe be scouting with these Hellions. He might. Well, I guess there it is. He's got the Viking out. Didn't even see it. And he's going to get a whole lot of information at that little fly-through right there.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at what he saw. It looks like he saw the expansion command center up. He saw the 3 barracks. Not sure if he saw the ghosts, but I feel like at this point, the ghosts are really not that big a deal. Select going to push out and finish his expansion. Drafter already has an expansion up. Playing the more standard 1-1-1 here, getting 3 tanks out. Bunch of Marauders going to push out with 2 tanks and Raven. Typically, I feel like Terrans are waiting for 3 tanks these days, so it's going to be interesting to see if he waits for the 3rd tank, not making anything out of his starport, just getting ready to push out. And the snipe of the, these ghosts have a lot of energy. They're up to 200 energy on a lot of them. The EMP and the snipe is going to be just instrumental in taking out all of these Terran units that are pushing up from Drafter. But,
Wow.
if he doesn't handle this perfectly, Drafter is just going to be able to attack, move through, and crush it.
It looks like that is exactly what's going to happen. The scan goes down, and instantly the army moves in, knowing that there's not much of anything. Marauders targeted here, and already, we see the point defense row go down.
God.
And he might actually be able to hold us off just with those ghosts here. With a few more Marauders coming out, the siege goes down, and wow. Those 3 ghosts did survive. That was like the only thing that did save him there.
Wow, that was really close. This auto turret going to burn down. The point defense drone at 10 HP going to be taken out by the ghost. That was, you could just cut that battle on the edge of a knife. It was so close. I still feel like Drafter is in a decent position here. Select going for, I'm doing air quotes now, the simpler of the follow-ups, which is just get a lot of Marauders. He doesn't have a reactor yet on his starport, so it looks like he's just going to focus on Marauders, which is a lot easier to just roam around with. Drafter a little bit behind, getting a second factory and a second barracks. Looks like he might favor mech play here, getting a lot of tanks and Thors to deal with any sort of Vikings, and still being diligent with his Viking scouting, which I really like to see. He's flying in there, Select countering that with a few ghosts, going to try to take out those Vikings. Vikings actually landing to pick off the ghost. One ghost goes down, gets loaded up in the medevac, very nice, and dropped out. Now trying to take out the medevac, but the ghost drops out. Wow, very, very nice play. I feel like it was a really good play by Drafter there to land down and just take out those ghosts. He really took advantage of the situation. And Select responding appropriately, loading up the ghosts and dropping out a little boxer dropship micro there that we've seen from the Brood War days.
Yeah, that ghost is actually going to do a lot of damage. No pulling for the pros. There comes a Marauder from the side, and here comes the rest of the crew. He will pick him back up, and that's the one advantage you have when you're just dealing with a bunch of Marauders. But he puts him back down right in front of the Marauder and takes him away one last time. So I guess having that ability to not be shot from the ground, he really took advantage of that, and it wasn't nice. Now, here's one thing that's interesting that I find about Select is that even though he started off with a really low army count, I mean super low army count in comparison, he is trying to keep ahead of his opponent, Drafter, in the economy right now. And I mean, if we look at the income tab, he is a lot higher with 55 harvesters, and his third his third command center is going down. So despite the fact that he really paid passive at the beginning, I kind of feel like he was really expecting that. So it was. I would like to see how this build would play out against some other things.
And especially in Terran versus Terran, the income tab can be a little misleading. Looks like we got a Marauder drop here in Drafter's main. Is he going to go for the SCVs or the command center? No, he goes straight for the SCVs. Drafter has a few Vikings in, but of course those don't hit Marauders. Just coming in and taking out what he can. Now going to the supply depots as those Marauders Punisher grenades just take out those supply depots so quickly. Dancing back a little bit. Looks like he's going to get taken out. Neither player actually has concussive shells. Those I guess they're not too important in Terran versus Terran. Drafter coming to clean this up, but the problem here is that Select used this as a window to drive Drafter's army back into his main base while he gets position here with his tanks and Marauders. He may be able to just drive right down with his Marauders, but the tanks coming back in time, sieging up. These siege shots are going to do so much to the Marauders, but they get taken out right away. Tanks trying to siege up. Looks like they're a little bit late there. Tanks do well against Marauders, but Marauders do well against tanks. Who's going to take this battle? Looks like, wow, Drafter actually holds. Very, very close play. He lost a lot of tanks there. And meanwhile, Select has set up the top expansion. But I feel like Drafter got the better of that attack. But Select is ahead at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he really did, and unfortunately for Select, he had some good moves there. There were the 2 siege tanks right here on the corner. He took those out immediately, but it was the siege tanks in the back from Drafter that really kind of wrecked Select in that battle, and he was not really sieged up until a little bit later on. He's going to respond with 2 more racks being put down at the natural expansion. He has got a really nice income going on, and I know you're going to say it is a little weird because you could be using your energy for scans, you could be throwing them on mules, and that will kind of skew the income, but you can't really skew this number, Chill. 72 harvesters to 46 harvesters, and looking at just the food supply, it's 161 for Select and only 110 for Drafter. So he used those ghosts early on, and we did have some more drama going on here with Select in this ghost, but he used those ghosts early on, I guess, and really, well, there we go. What
So
what happened?
what happened here was Select actually had a disconnect. So
Dude.
if we take a look at the state of the game, there's no clear winner here, and the reason we broadcast this game anyway was just because it was such an interesting game. Um, excuse me, I feel like Select is definitely ahead, but it's not any. You're not in any position to call the game here. So both players were agreeable to that, and we just wiped the slate clean and
Wow.
moved on to the next game. But a really interesting opening. The more I think about it, the more I feel like any sort of Marauder Marine push gets sniped down by the Ghost. Banshee play, if you're confident in your EMP to shut down the Banshee cloak, I feel like the Ghost could do well against that sort of opening as well. And we saw in this game against 1-1-1 that the three Ghosts with the transition into one racks, Marauders, and tanks actually worked as well. So this could be, another leg that Terran uses in Terran versus Terran to stand up on. And I just haven't seen it until this game. So very interesting game from both players there.
Well, I'll be curious to see if there's a possibility of something like that happening again. Like, I really would have loved to see a timing push to see how he would have handled it with those ghosts. He really, I mean, if you'd go back and were to watch this, he really just had like he looked like what I have for armies at the beginning of the game when I'm just like doo, 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 and then you just get rolled over just because you're not ready for it. And he was obviously pretty confident in it. Maybe it was the matchup, maybe it was the locations that he knew he scouted them first. I don't know, but I would love to see that one played out a little bit. So Mr. Tricky Chill there. That was game one, but as I understand then, just to reiterate to all the viewers out there, both players agreed that they were going to do it. I see some folks in chat are saying that 30 harvesters, yeah, that's not equal, but I mean, in terms of army size and the way it was going back and forth, it wasn't like someone just eliminated some dude's army and there was no way he was going to be able to rebuild it. I'll have to agree with the admins and the players on this one. Plus, it just means more games.
And exactly. Maybe we can see it play out again. But the way it's always worked since the beginning of time in RTS games is you have to be winning beyond a shadow of a doubt to be declared the winner and disconnect, especially if you disconnect. So if you disconnect and then get awarded the win, that feels a little strange unless you were rolling the guys, last floating command center or something like that. And the reason we do this is because how many times have you seen players come back from just ridiculous deficits, even, 5 times worse than that, but somehow they just with insane micro and they tooth and nail, they just claw their way back. So if there's no kind of hard feelings, we forget about that game and we start over, and both players were agreeable, and that's the decision that was taken.